Guys wanted me to call the FBI. I called the FBI. Here's the recording. At the end of the call, though, he does hang up on me rather abruptly. Not because I'm rude, not because of anything else, and I definitely had more crime to report. But notice his behavior when he wants to spin me back down to the local level after I just reported to the FBI man that all these people obstruct justice. He says, "Hey, I don't care what you reported to me. Go back downstairs." True story.
One moment while I transfer you to the next available representative. Your call will now be recorded.
Thank you for calling the FBI.
A-P-O-S-O.
Thank you for that clarification, sir.
Yes, sir.
What federal violation are you calling to report today?
Threat to human life and amongst a few others. Can I get your agent code, please?
Sir, I'm not an agent. I'm a threat intake examiner, and my operator ID number is 59855.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, what was your title again? I'm not familiar with that.
I'm a threat intake examiner for the National Threat Operations Center.
Okay, so you don't work for the FBI, you work for the Threat Center, is that correct?
No, sir, I work for the FBI. I am an FBI employee.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let me start the report. April 18th at 8:30 in the morning, deputy by the name that I was given, Willie Carr, C-A-R-R, him and a couple other deputies obstructed me from entering. He blindsides me and tries to push me down the steps of the courthouse. I asked Mr. Faulkner to take a report for the assault and threat to my life that has just occurred. He declined. I walked around the block to the sheriff's office. I tried to file a criminal report with the agency, who is in control of the agent. They declined investigation. So I walked to the town police right next door, filed a report with the chief, with the investigator, and I received a report number. I informed the chief and the investigator, Bowen, that I have submitted criminal information previously to several officers in this jurisdiction where this criminal information would go obstructed. I would be retaliated against and there would be tampering occurring. I put him on notice of these crimes. What he did was what I wouldn't advise anybody to do. He sent the original copy of the investigation up to the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, who I've been trying to correspond with and beg to honor my crime victims' rights. They refused to allow me to view the footage that day from the assault that occurred. They refused to correspond with me in regards to the judge's perjury. Because I had to file a criminal report, I never appeared in court that morning. I never appeared in court that day in front of a judge. I never checked in. I never appeared in a courtroom that day. I want to make this very clear one more time. So that day, 3 hours later after I spoke with the investigator, I told him, because I can't yet identify the man who tried to push me down a flight of steps that is a deputy, and I begged him to go with me into the building so I could point out witnesses and identify the culprit, he refused. He wouldn't let me identify these people, the witnesses and the culprit. So that was obstructed too, as a part of the investigation. Lo and behold, I went up there 3 hours later to submit the criminal report into my case file that I did not appear on. The investigator told me he'd speak with the city attorney and assured me that today is not a good day to probably go to court, since I can't identify who it was that pushed me. And I felt comfortable doing that. 3 hours later, I went up to the courthouse to submit record pertaining to the assault into my case file to show cause why I did not appear, so I did not receive a failure to appear. The judge dismissed the case. I'm only assuming that in a conspiracy, somebody collaborated and told the judge of what had happened outside the courthouse that day and why I did not appear. The judge did not hit me with a failure to appear. No. The judge gave me a dismissal, but when he did, he committed 3 counts of perjury, perjuring himself under oath, which is a Class 5 felony in the state of Virginia. And I have reported this to the police, to the Commonwealth attorneys, and they refuse to investigate. telling me that they send their investigation upstairs. And when I ask who's upstairs, because I'd like to follow up as a crime victim, I'd like to submit more evidence, more information, and I'd like to review things with an investigator, he doesn't have an answer for me, and he wants me to send me back around to the governor's, the attorney general's office, the House of Delegates, or even a grand jury. He says, I have 2 troopers claiming that it is their policy and their manual that when a criminal information is presented pertaining to an elected official, that he is going to politely decline investigation, claiming it is the rules or policy or manual of the Virginia State Police that permits this behavior. I put him on notice of obstruction of justice and retaliation against a victim, witness, and informant of crime under U.S. Code 1503 and 1513.
Okay, sir. So what you're describing here is typically handled by local state officials. If you reported this to your police department,
I'm reporting a threat to my life and official public corruption, which the FBI wants to investigate. Go ahead. It's on your website.
I understand, sir. It's typically handled by local and state officials. If you feel like you've reported this sufficiently to your local law enforcement, you can always report it to your internal affairs. Your state
Internal affairs is sending me back
you have the
into...
information documented, and I appreciate you calling the FBI.
Don't go internal
This is
affairs.
retaliation. That's retaliation brought on by agents of the FBI.
He just hung up on me. When I told him, hey, the FBI's website says you want official public corruption, he's sending me back down to where the public corruption is occurring, refusing to investigate, refusing to allow me to speak with a supervisor, investigator. I can't follow up. They don't want material evidence. He didn't say, hey, man, can you submit us some records? No. They are there in place for subversive behavior. Your reports to the FBI, they don't matter. Unless you want to hand them something they care to mess with. They're sending me in circles. So everybody that says call the FBI, there's your call to the FBI. Now what's going to get done? I mean, I had more information to unload on him. I could have spent hours on the phone giving him criminal information, which I can be liable for if I'm making false reports. But they want to hang up on me after telling me to go take the crime back downstairs. And he even said, take it to internal affairs. Let me tell you, in a local town police station, if a cop walks up to you and says, hey, I don't like you, and breaks your arm, they're going to send you to internal affairs. What are you going to do? You're going to make a report with internal affairs, and internal affairs is going to take the report, lift up the rug, and slide it under there. That's what they're for. Just like the FBI and their subversive behavior, you don't think, I mean, after everybody I talk to, this FBI agent clearly believes that I am going to get help at a local level. Well, Mr. FBI agent,